Judge Aileen Cannon has just handed another win to former President Donald Trump as she criticized Special Counsel Jack Smith's sweeping request to censor FBI interviews in former President Donald Trump's classified documents case. Now, she called it inadequate, which is what many people are calling Jack Smith in this case that they're trying to pin on Donald Trump. Now, the former president is accused of illegally retaining classified documents, hoarding them at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, and obstructing attempts by federal officials to retrieve them. Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican candidate in the 2024 presidential election, has pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. He has denied any wrongdoing in the case and has said that the documents that he retained were personal, something that former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker agrees with. So Cannon's new deadline for Donald Trump to reveal which of the files he plans to use in his defense, May 9th, nearly 7 weeks before July 8th, Smith's proposed trial date. The deadline raises doubts about whether the trial will actually begin in July, potentially resulting in yet another delay in its start, boosting the chances that they're going to have to push the start date of his federal trial until after November's election. And of course, if he's reelected, he could order federal charges against him just simply be dropped. They say that Jack Smith is in a lose-lose battle with Aileen Cannon. Special Counsel Jack Smith is in a lose-lose battle with the judge in Donald Trump's classified documents case. You have former federal prosecutor Nima Rami explain that the more Smith challenges U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon's rulings to a higher court, the easier it will be for Trump to delay the case past the 2024 presidential election. Ramani said Donald Trump could then kill the case completely if he was elected to a second term at the White House. Even with Smith's latest plea, Cannon only partially granted the prosecutor's request in agreeing to keep the names of FBI agents, Secret Service agents, and other potential witnesses in the case under seal. In a 24-page order, the judge refused to categorically block witness statements from being disclosed, saying that there was no bias for such a sweeping and blanket restriction on their inclusion in pretrial motions. For his part, former President Donald Trump is also defending Cannon against critics and some individuals who he says are disrespecting the judge. He said on Truth Social how crooked Joe Biden and his crew of hacks and thugs, led by Merrick Garland and deranged Jack Smith, are working overtime to try and illegally intimidate and harass respected federal judge Aileen Cannon. He said that they are calling her terrible names, wrongfully threatening her with impeachment, and disrespecting her, all because they want her to act like the dishonest, politically biased, and conflicted judges in New York, and not like the fair and impartial judge that she is. Well, it's about time that we take a look at this legal saga between Judge Aileen Cannon and Special Counsel Jack Smith over Donald Trump's classified documents case. You guys ready? All right, let's go ahead and jump right in here. So first, you have former acting Attorney General Whitaker explaining how Donald Trump was perfectly within his rights to keep those documents, much like how Clinton used the same defense when they found those recordings in his sock drawer. Do you guys remember that one? Check this out.
One of the Trump trials, Jack Smith back in the news today, pushing back on the judge in the documents case for entertaining Donald Trump's team for saying these were all of his documents. These were his personal papers. He should be allowed to keep them. You should not be charging him. Jack Smith is outraged. He says he never told anybody they were his documents.
Yeah, but that kind of buries the lead. And what they're trying to get at is this Presidential Records Act argument, which is ultimately the Clinton sock drawer case, right? I mean, Bill Clinton had personal recordings in his sock drawer. A court determined that they were his personal records. It didn't matter if they were classified, didn't matter anything, because Bill Clinton had determined after his presidency they were his personal records. Donald Trump has done the same thing. He said these documents are my personal records. If you read the Presidential Records Act, Brian, it says all documents. It doesn't carve out defense intelligence information. It doesn't carve out classified marked information. It says all records are presidential, and then it has a process. And that's what Judge Cannon is trying to get to the bottom of, and that's what Jack Smith, to your point, is really objecting to.
With this defense, experts siding with Donald Trump predict that Jack Smith will be crushed in the legal case that he's trying to pin on Donald Trump. For starters, Judge Aileen Cannon has already criticized Jack Smith's sweeping request to censor FBI interviews in former President Donald Trump's classified documents case. In the latest exchange, amid ongoing accusations between the pair, Cannon said that the courts find that the special counsel's sweeping request and generalized rationales inadequate to overcome the public's common law interest in access to those materials. Let me repeat that for you guys. Inadequate. That's how she described what Jack Smith has been trying to do here. As a man, You never want to be referred to as being inadequate. I'm just saying. In this particular case, Cannon refused to censor FBI interviews with Walt Nauta, Donald Trump's former personal assistant, who is alleged to have hidden classified documents at Donald Trump's request. So Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, a Mar-a-Lago maintenance worker, they're accused of moving boxes of sensitive materials around Donald Trump's Florida home to prevent federal agents from finding them and conspiring to delete security footage that had been sought under a subpoena. Smith has made it clear to Cannon on multiple occasions that he's against revealing the names of FBI witnesses to the public. He's worried about potential intimidation, given what's happening to witnesses in other cases tied to the former president, with supporters getting involved. And on the other hand, Donald Trump's legal team has consistently argued against keeping the identities of the witnesses a secret. In the most recent order, Cannon's partially granted Smith's request to censor names in government documents, writing that the court finds that the special counsel's asserted witness safety and harassment concerns are sufficient at this juncture to 1. Shield the names of potential government witnesses and ancillary names in the motions and in the attached script of defendant Nauta's voluntary FBI interview, and 2. Replace those names as applicable with anonymous descriptors. She also mentioned about Smith's supposed failure to state adequate reasons that the names of government witnesses should be protected from public view. Cannon also said that Smith failed to comply with the rules on sensitive court filings, something that she said that the court has emphasized repeatedly throughout his proceedings. For many of his critics, Jack Smith just doesn't have a case nor the authority to even bring the case. Some even say that Jack Smith should go to jail. But what do you guys think? Now, I've definitely heard a lot of support for Donald Trump in the comment section. I was even surprised when I read people abroad saying how there are millions of people the world over that would vote for Trump if they could. I saw a lot of comments just saying, November 5th, 2024, put America first. Vote for Donald Trump, president. Make America great again. Now, we're just getting started here, guys. Later, we're going to be talking about how Judge Aileen Cannon's ruling and Jack Smith's inadequacy are helping Donald Trump win in November. Plus, how Donald Trump is defending Cannon, the judge, from verbal abuse from her detractors. So just stay tuned right there, guys. But first, a quick break just to say my heartfelt thanks to all you guys who are watching this video and for showing your love by hitting the like button. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sharing these videos. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and turning on that notification bell. You guys are amazing. So Judge Aileen Cannon also recently set a new deadline for President Donald Trump, deciding he must reveal by May 9th which secret documents he intends to incorporate into his defense during the Mar-a-Lago trial. This comes as a little bit of a blow to Special Counsel Jack Smith, who has been pushing for an earlier deadline of March 18th and hoping for a trial start date by July 8th. Despite this new timeline, it's a tighter squeeze than Donald Trump's team initially wanted. They had asked for June 17th deadline and even pushed for the case to be delayed indefinitely until or at least after the upcoming election. The process is a crucial early step on the path to trial, setting the stage for what's to come, even though opening arguments are still a long way off. By choosing a middle ground between the dates Trump and Smith proposed, Judge Cannon seems to be keeping a cautious eye on the appeals process. Smith's team has hinted at the possibility of an appeal, and by not pushing the trial date too far, Judge Cannon might be looking to avoid a scenario where the appeals court has to step in and set the schedule themselves. But still, outside experts are commenting how it's a lose-lose battle for Jack Smith when it comes to Judge Cannon. As former federal prosecutor Naima Ramani commented, the more Smith challenges Cannon's rulings to a higher court, the easier it's going to be for Donald Trump to delay the case past the 2024 presidential election. Trump could then easily kill the case completely if he's elected to a second term at the White House. Trump is doing his best to defend Judge Cannon, though. He recently jumped on Truth Social to express his anger about some people he says are disrespecting the judge. He said that crooked Joe Biden and his crew of hacks and thugs, led by Merrick Garland and deranged Jack Smith, are working overtime to try to illegally intimidate and harass respected federal Judge Aileen Cannon. They're calling her terrible names, wrongfully threatening her with impeachment, and disrespecting her, all because they want her to act like the dishonest, politically biased, and conflicted judges in New York, and not like the fair and impartial judge that she is. I mean, it's about time they had a judge who actually sided with Trump, right? So Trump, our presumptive Republican nominee in the 2024 presidential race, has pled not guilty to the charges against him. He has denied any wrongdoing in the case and has said that the documents that he retained were personal. Last month, Judge Cannon filed an order asking both the prosecution and the defense to provide possible possible instructions to the jury relating to the charges against the former president. In the jury instructions, Cannon appeared to suggest to the jury that they're permitted to consider the classified documents to be Trump's personal items under the Presidential Records Act. In response, Smith filed a strong rebuke against the order, saying that they rest on an unstated and fundamentally flawed legal premise. That's why some legal experts have suggested that Smith could move to call for Cannon's recusal from the case. Ellie Honig, a special commentator and attorney, talked about this in a CNN interview and said that a motion for Cannon to be removed is possible but will be extraordinarily rare. He said that there is a procedure for this, and it can happen sometimes where prosecutors will ask the judge or will ask the appeals court to remove a federal judge from the case. He called it a pretty precipitous move. Second of all, if you lose, you kind of have an awkward scenario where you've asked the judge to be kicked off. He does make a good point there. Now, if you think about it, it just kind of goes to show the lengths that Jack Smith may be willing to go just to remove Judge Cannon from the equation. You know what I mean? Now, I'm telling you guys, if there were ever a time to tune in, now will be it. Don't miss out on a single update. I just want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing and sharing these videos, and I'll see you on the next one.